It's that time again. The biggest week in video games. Gaming's Super Bowl, gaming's WrestleMania. E3 2016 is upon us, and with it, a barrage of new announcements. Today on Indie Connect, we will be looking at where some of E3 2015's biggest indie announcements are leading into this year's show, plus making some predictions going into the conferences this weekend. Microsoft's conference was rife with announcements, with ID at Xbox really showing off its commitment to small independent developers. It was by far the biggest platform for indies of any of the big three. While many of the announcements have released on the Steam platform, the selection on Xbox One is a bit more slim. That being said, games like Superhot Team Superhot, the Behemoth's remaster of Castle Crashers, and The Flame in the Flood by the Molasses Flood came and delivered in late 2015 and early 2016. Microsoft's Early Access program is another exciting avenue ID at Xbox is using to drive independent developers, giving us games like the Frontier Developments Elite Dangerous, Hinterland's The Long Dark, and the co-developed The Solus project from Teotl Studios and Grip Digital. There were other titles which were announced at last year's E3 that were released but didn't quite make the same impact. You'll notice a couple glaring omissions from my ID at Xbox recap, which leads me to my predictions for Microsoft's indie presence at E3. Studio MDHR's wonderful Steamboat Willie-inspired Cuphead was quiet for most of the year following E3, with only a brief appearance at PAX. Not until days before E3 did we get any new news about the game, which has went from a boss rush game to adding full platforming stages. This year during Microsoft's conference, I believe we get another look at Cuphead and a full date, dropping as early as the end of the summer. If Microsoft is really being bold, they may even give Cuphead its drop the mic moment by announcing it's available end of the day Monday. For my second ID at Xbox prediction, Cappy Games' dark, somber mashup of Legend of Zelda meets Dark Souls, Below, gets its moment to shine with one last trailer and a solid release date, dropping by the end of October. Lastly, well, I want to make a prediction surrounding the Behemoth's Pit People, which just looks delightful. I have to give it to Steve Gaynor and the team at Fulbright. Tacoma, follow-up game to the beautiful and haunting Gone Home, uses some of the same gameplay mechanics of letting you explore and discover secrets in a world that feels very believable and lived in. The fun exception to this, of course, is that this time it's in space. It's confirmed that, to an extent, Tacoma will deal with a strange form of experiencing the past, so you really get to not only find the remnants after the fact, but experience them as if being a witness to them. I expect to see Tacoma given a date, putting it Q1 2017. We head across the aisle to the Sony camp to look at what PlayStation had to show at last year's E3. And no joke, I had to rewatch nearly the entire conference because I almost didn't believe it. Sony showed off only 6 new indie titles at its conference. Sony, who is traditionally much more invested in cultivating a catalog of indie titles, really didn't give them much stage time. That being said, the quality of the titles shown were really top-notch. The nearly mythical No Man's Sky from Hello Games made an appearance with live gameplay, showing off for the very first time just how intensely vast the universe surrounding No Man's Sky truly is. With no promises of a real release date, the live demo left everyone wanting more. Next, the very controversial Firewatch was shown off for the first time, with nothing more than a short trailer teasing the deep mystery within. Later in the conference, Devolver Digital made its mark by showing off the final 4 indie titles of the show. Ronin, which has seen release on Steam to some average but mostly positive reviews. Eiter, unabashed isometric Dark Souls clone, has yet to see release. Mother Russia Bleeds, a hyper-violent co-op brawler with a thick sense of style, has no word on release dates. And 90s Saturday morning cartoon-looking Crossing Souls, just dripping with an old Zombies Ate My Neighbor style. With Sony being as quiet as they were last year, what could I possibly expect from a Sony conference as far as indies are concerned? As with Microsoft, I have 3 bold predictions for what I expect to see, starting with PlayStation VR. This is the year Sony really starts to push their flashy VR headset, and to really sell the device, I think they need the support of the smaller independent developers that helped build Sony into the industry leader they are today. Expect to see VR titles from no less than 4 different studios during their conference. Second, Sony will show off a sizzle reel introducing 10 new indie titles for the PlayStation 4, reaffirming their commitment to small developers. Finally, in a bombshell announcement, Sony gives the floor to That Game Company's co-founder, Jenova Chen, to announce a new game exclusively for the PlayStation 4. That Game Company is responsible for indie smash hits such as Flow, Flower, and of course, the masterpiece, Journey. What do you think? Do you think I've hit the nail on the head? Leave your thoughts in the comments. If you like what you've seen, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel, where I will have post-show reactions and previews of everything indie as it occurs on the show floor.